Welcome back to another Semen Retention Sunday episode here on the Regal Change account. And top of the morning to you. There's a fragrance of freshness emanating in the air this morning because we just had rain yesterday, and so the air's a bit cooler and there's a little bit of humidity, still around, and so it's very nice compared to the dryness of the heat we've had the last few days. But nonetheless, it's given me some time to ponder and reflect on this topic that we're going to be talking about today, which is why women are triggered by your godlike body on semen retention. And this is going to be a ride for the Regal Change viewers that have not been Regal Change old timers. Buckle up, Buttercup, okay? Because this is going to be a ride. So, according to the esoteric teachings and the occult, there are 3 types of bodies, maybe 4, depending on how you view it. There's the physical body, the mental body, the astral body, and then the ethereal body. Now, the physical body, of course, is the physical form. It's the flesh and bone. And the mental body is essentially that glimpse into the electromagnetic satellite field that you are. The astral body is where you are still present, right? Like you're still present within the domain of consciousness that we're in, but you can travel through astral projection. Then there's the ethereal body, where you essentially go into another plane of consciousness. Now, the physical body is going to be where people see you, of course, right? In this earthly domain. And the godlike quality that you have is going to come from the connection that your physical body has through these other physical bodies into the ethereal body. Now, myself, I like to come up with new terms because sometimes I like to reinvent the wheel. And I find it to be more useful for me because it helps me understand more of where these things are coming from and what I've experienced personally in this form, in this incarnation, you could say. Now, in the Bible, it says, those that truly worship God worship in spirit and truth. Now, that's very interesting because the ethereal body is essentially spirit and truth. So the physical body decays, it's not real. The mental body is a projection of your own physical body. And the astral body is not really the substance that stays around after you're gone. Well, the ethereal body does, though, stay around after you're gone, quote unquote. There's really nowhere to go, but after you drop your body, right? So now that we have this background of the types of bodies there are and why there is this proclivity, semen retention helps you access that connection to your ethereal body, or what I call the connection to the mystical beyond. If you've read my book, The Book of Oldishness, then you'd be aware of this term and the reasons why I use that term. But the mystical beyond is essentially the multiverse. Okay, the astral body can only travel in the universe, but the ethereal body can travel the multiverse. Now, there are many different types of planes of consciousnesses, and with semen retention, women specifically will be triggered by you. People in general will be triggered by you, but with men, I found that I get either immense respect or just straight up hate from men. There's really no in between with men. Well, really with anybody actually, but with women, it's like there's something visceral that happens. Like male truth, like truth from a male perspective, from women's perspective, is considered rude, or it's considered hate, right? And we're just being truthful, right? We're just being honest. But male truth from a female perspective is considered this, disgusting thing. And it's funny because this is exactly what helps them connect more to their ethereal body. So this is a high level, but really, I don't really believe in levels necessarily, but this is a high level view of what exactly happens when you are on semen retention and you connect more with your ethereal body. And that's why women are more triggered by you. They're triggered because you walk around with this sense of oomph, this zest in your step, or you're just chill, you're just relaxed. Your somatic anchor, which is essentially your nervous system, or what I call your solar timeline interface. The Regal Change old timers know what I'm talking about here. The somatic anchor is in peace and joy and just groundedness. There's this sense of feet on the ground that people have when you're around. Like, people feel like my feet are on the ground, and yet they're not on the ground at the same time. Yeah, it's because you elevate their spirits, especially with the godlike energy that you have and the godlike body that you have. You see, being godlike isn't necessarily about having the most insane physique ever, or whatever the case is. It's about being at ease in your own skin and being at ease with existence as it is, and not trying to change it because you feel like you need to change it. Now, I don't really care to go into the astral stuff on this channel too much. That's more of a Regal Shaman type of a channel. That's my other channel that I have, but on YouTube. However, with this type of topic, it's necessary to talk about these things because there's something more that's going on here that many men are not aware of, or they believe is just pish posh. A lot of men will just do semen retention because they want to attract women or because they want more money, and those things will absolutely happen. But it's not the practice itself that's doing those things. It's who you're becoming as you do this method, because this is a method to help you get out of methods. And it's just one method, right? This is all it's one way to look at life and to look at things. And to be consumed by the way that we're supposed to view certain things is actually a hindrance to your own spiritual progression. If you approach truth from a place of, I should be doing this, or I ought to be doing this, you're going to limit yourself in one way or another. Now, it's a paradox because there is absolutely nothing reprehensible about discipline. In fact, discipline is going to help you immensely on this path. But you have to go through the process and the method of developing the discipline to realize that you never needed the discipline to begin with. It's all a paradox. And that's what's very frustrating with a lot of this for a lot of different types of men. And women in general, they will, like, I've had women who just my presence seems to remind them of something, or they just feel the need to lie. And I can tell that they're lying, and they're trying to dismiss their own feelings that they have because they don't want to make you feel better than you already do. Like that's what's crazy. And they're triggered by your own sense of peace. And they're triggered by your own sense of connection to the soul of existence. And so this is where the godlike mastery practice comes into play. Now, I do have that godlike mastery offer that I offer unto the people as a way to help them transform. But I also say that I'm not the educator, I'm not the master, I'm the mastery education. So what I focus on is just being the education process for these individuals that want to transform their lives. I'm not attached to seeing myself in a certain title. Now, it's interesting because godlike mastery, again, it's not about necessarily having the most top physique, or being the smartest in the room, or whatever the case is, right? It's not about that. It's about your own connection to the soul of existence. Because I see this whole existence as one soul expressing itself in different forms. And when I see, like, when I see the tree behind me, I see Krishna, or I see the Christ, or I see Allah, whatever you want to call it, right? Like, when I see people walking down the street to go walk to church in the Sunday morning here, I see there's the Christ, there's Bhagwan, whatever, whoever you want to call it, that's the name of God. And I think to myself, Jayo Bhagwan, victory to the Lord. But I don't attach myself to these things. And women, they're so consumed in the matrix that, generally speaking, that they don't even know how consumed in the matrix they are. And if I were to tell these women, look, I'm a man who is protecting his essence, let's say. If something happened where sex was not a possibility down the line, what would you do to be with me if I wasn't so attractive to you, if I wasn't so whatever to you? What would you do to try to keep me in the relationship? And I ask women this, and if I were to ask women, apart from like romantically, like, well, what would you do for your man? Like, how would you keep that man? They don't have an answer. If sex is not on the table, they don't know how, because they've never been taught to be a woman that is actually enjoyable to be around. And that's another reason why they'll be triggered by you on semen attention, is when you reclaim your power as a man and you're stop being a depleted coom or worshiping the pink palace, all of a sudden they realize, like, oh, right, he really doesn't give out free samples of his coconut milk. He really doesn't. So what do I do? Like, they just short circuit their brain. They don't know what, because they've only been taught that their best value is their beauty. Like, it's really a shame, actually. It's really a shame that many women have been taught that their biggest value is their sexuality. And that's just so much further from the truth than it is. But at the same time, it's really not. I mean, we're all, as human beings, it's not really that we're meant to procreate, but it's just like, this is a part of the mechanics of being human. And this is something that you start to see on your own journey, is you start to see the desire for desire, and the desire for lust, and for maybe that Latina booty. You see her and you're just like, okay, think here, Thaddeus, or you just see that as the mechanics of your human biology, and you separate, but you don't separate yourself from the happenings of your own being. See, that's the mental body shift into the ethereal body. So there's the physical body that's happening, having that physical urge. Like, let's say there's a woman that you're really attracted to, and you know that you're not supposed to be attracted to her because maybe she's a Jezebel SLUT. But You're super attracted to her because she's got that Latina booty, man. She's got the Latina booty. So what do you do? What do you do? Well, okay, first you recognize that physical body part of yourself in the human form. And then you see the mental body, like, okay, there's a desire. But you don't say, I have a desire. There is a desire. And then you say, okay, you move into the astral and the ethereal, and you say, ah, so there's another divine being right there. You start to see her less as a thing to have and more as a being to appreciate. That's the essence right there of the ethereal body, is you're seeing that etherealness for what it is. So we are electromagnetic satellite beings, and I trust that this message was received by those ready to receive it. There's more to go into definitely on this topic, but in the spirit of the time, I trust that those that were ready for this type of a thing were ready for it. And if you got this far in the video, go ahead and type in Regal Timeline Narrative in the comment section so that I know that this is resonating with you and you want more content like this, because this is, for the Regal Change channel, this is a little bit different. It's still very much on topic, of course, but we're going a lot deeper. This is the kind of stuff that I talk about with people in the Godlike Mastery or in the Regal Academy. Like in the Regal Academy, we go pretty deep as well on the group calls. Like everybody's just, it's kind of interesting because we're all just kind of hanging out in the ethereal realm. That's kind of what it feels like. We're just kind of like hanging out in the ethereal realm while also really ensuring that we're all being accountable and bettering ourselves, but not being attached to the outcomes of those things. So, peace be with you all. Be blessed. Until next time.